Oh, hi, it's Rich. I need help. You should never be afraid to ask for help. Um, and here we go. Here's Crystal on the bed. This is us requiring help. Thanks for your help. I do wonder why I have the life I do. If I'm a criminal, please arrest me. Hi, Hung. It's Rich. There's no need to remove me from my home, that house that you lease to me or I'm in, because there's some justice issues. And if someone simply acknowledges these factual things with authorities, then I will buy this house outright. You will get your rent. I will get my home, and I'll spend another $50,000 on top. Here is the things that I need alleged with authorities. Thanks for listening. I suffered a complex workplace injury on the 19th of January 2021. Since then, I've been systemically abused, oppressed, and persecuted. The powers that be have first delayed, deferred, denied my work cover, and set me up to fail for a very long time. It's gone from WorkSafe to Comcare to the AAT. There is a requirement that WorkSafe pay you a certain amount of money within a registered time frame. That has not occurred. Therefore, I need a lawyer. All it takes is someone to ledger that my government profile on the Department of Social Security website validates me as a government employee for the purposes of the SRC Act. I really don't know what that means. I need a lawyer, but I can't get a lawyer. But here's the evidence. There it is. I'm an employee of the government. If someone could just acknowledge that with work cover and, take it up with Bill Shorten, that would immediately solve the problem. Thanks for listening. So when I became ill from work because I was framed out of two VOCAT cases, and I had a difficult journey with my own sexual abuse case in a Geelong Magistrates Court where I was the victim, and I was troubled by my client's sexual abuse story again and again after I'd narrated it for 2 years for the purposes of VOCAT. That's why I left work when the CD-ROM came in the mail from the magistrate, and I knew there was nothing I could do. So I took a little break and I asked HCF, my insurer, to cover me for a month or so until I have a rest because I hadn't had a break for 2 years, and pay some income assist. Well, unfortunately, that didn't occur. It was set up to fail and doomed to fail from the start. That's because of the movement to destroy me. They still haven't paid. Sheena Jack has been caught fraudulently editing documents, and $75,000 hung would easily see you out of this situation we're in. So if you could just please acknowledge that I haven't had a legal advocate, I haven't had someone stick up for me. I've been battling this by myself, and I did beg them, and I begged AFCA as well. We'll go into that one in a minute. You could please just ledger that. We will have no more problem. Well, of course I didn't know I was being set up. HCF and work cover, and now I was fighting at AFCA. Now, both before my suicide attempt, which was inside a hospital, which was deemed fatal and gave me a brain injury that no one cares about, and then I was left for dead. AFCA, both before I killed myself and after I survived a certain fatality by chance of being revived, AFCA still delayed, deferred, denied my determinations, and this was rendering me a vagrant. That's how you attack someone in the money, and that's how you frame someone. That's how you destroy someone via proxy. And Tim Goss has recorded, and the evidence is below, of absolutely setting me up to fail, and this comes absolutely from the top. They delayed, deferred, denied what was supposed to be a 4-week determination for a marginalised person, and mine took over a year. And they had known that I was in a financially vulnerable situation since 2019. So it was the middle of 2021. They're still delaying, deferring, denying. I'm going crazy. I'm a bit of a vagrant. I'm battling, but there's no way I can win. So if we could just acknowledge that Tim Goss, Peter Fisher, and the head of AFCA are involved in a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, and we can get the finance department to pay the detriment of $1 to $2 million, that would be pretty good. Also, HCF and other determinations and problems I've had with the banks and that kind of stuff. Well, obviously we can see that because I can't go to AFCA, and that's especially to do with my health insurance at the moment, then I have no recourse to get things acknowledged or settled. And that's the way you set someone up to fail, and that's why there's a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. If we could just acknowledge that and maybe arrest Tim Goss and Peter Fisher and a few other people as well. The detriment suffered is enormous, and it's literally been torture for me. Thanks for listening. Oh, there's the Australian Human Rights Commission. Hi, Liz Lindbergh. Thanks for free kicking $1 million deal to an insurance company who was discriminatory towards me. It's not very impartial of you to free kick the determination to the opposite team. That's called corruption, and I guess I lost probably $1 million plus super plus I could have probably really used the TPD payment now because I'm got a bit of a brain fart injury going on from the systemic abuse which you helped to cause and then further oppress me with. Oh, and recently I took my statement of all this corruption to the Australian Human Rights Commission, and they refused to acknowledge me or even act. And that's called a statutory authority that is causing detriment, and it is abusing my human rights, and it is a way of attacking me via proxy, via agencies in the government. And I wish to say that every government agency and the people that are in it as public officials are actually supposed to act within the Charter of Human Rights of people with a disability, and that says we must not be taken advantage of, we must not be exploited, we must not be tortured, we must not have our lives life taken off us, and we must not be tortured. So well done to the Australian Human Rights Commission. I only lost a cool, couple of million there. If someone could just acknowledge that that was set up to fail, because I've got all the recordings, that would be really swell, because that's another reason of the detriment why I can't pay your rent, mate. And it's another reason, another stick in the faggot of oppression that banged me on the head, and that actually was the same motive to not deny me justice and rob me of prosperity. And it's the same thing that happened and is still happening even today. And it's 26th of August. There was a little problem I had in 2017, which was a legitimate claim against a GP, which I offered the person to do an apology and stuff and a place to sort it out, which I always do. But I'd been unfortunately framed as an extortionist by Russell Ball of Ball and Partners. He's a very powerful lawyer, and he sits on the Australian legal bar and informs government policy. He also advises the Ombudsman, and he does talks at APRA. That's where my complaint ended up going when I was trying to acknowledge and defend my very existence because I had overdosed when the doctor gave me medication that he shouldn't have when I was suicidal. And furthermore, Mr. Ball framed me as an extortionist, and he did that internally through Freedom of Information, which I found out, to Health Complaints Commissioner, to APRA, to NHPOPC, to IBAC, to the police, the Victorian Inspectorate, and to the Ombudsman, of course, which of course he informs. So, as you can see, Mr. Ball of Ball and Partners was defending Dr. Whittaker. I've got nothing against the doctor. And in fact, a small little conspiracy to pervert the course of justice had occurred, and every single person in all of those agencies well knew that my evidence, which I didn't know, was actually legitimate stuff to hear in a court. I'd still like it to be heard in a court now. And due to the Surveillance Act in Victoria in 1999. So I could record it. I didn't record it maliciously. No. In actual fact, he called me an extortionist and I was gifted $100,000 by Mark Eng. He's the guy where my former partner and I used to live. He had a bit of a cash bonus. He appreciated my work that I'd done over the years and my art, and he wanted to support me. But then he said, "Oh, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to give you the $100,000. And so, being the ethical man that I am, and being not money hungry or an extortionist at all, I gave the money back. And to that, it was never released or found out by me that I'd been framed as an extortionist by Mr. Russell Ball internally to government agencies, or the whole government, until after I'd actually killed myself and then survived. And then when I got out, I got dumped into the society and forsaken. And during that time, I found out that, yeah, he'd pretty much framed me and I was set up to fail from the start. And that's my little bit of my story. And Mr. Russell Ball and the other agents of destruction are, of course, all acting in congruence with one single thing in mind, and that is to rob me of prosperity because I'm a bad person, and that any perceived weakness in me is absolutely amplified in libel and slander to my family, to friends, to everyone. And I'm blamed for a lot of things. I'm called a lot of nasty names. I'm followed, and I'm under investigation, and I'm an infamous vagrant. And to that, I guess I'm a pretty interesting guy. However, I didn't ever want to be this interesting. In actual fact, I just want to live a simple life with my dog. And if you can acknowledge any of these things, such as a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, which is illegal, and which my prosecution in the High Court only needs to prove that 3 or more people acted with intent to pervert the course of justice, or they acted via omission to pervert the course of justice. Well, there's a lot of people who are staying silent about what they know about how set up I am and how I'm set up to fail. And the libel and slander, of course, which is also illegal, is going around in documents, between departments, between people. And they're making me mad and crazy by gaslighting and ostracizing me and isolating me. And gaslighting, as we know, is a proven methodology of torture. And systemically, that is absolutely what the government's doing. But I could name the heads of departments, like Macaulay Cash, who I pulled up on some injustice issues with my failed work cover case. And of course, the easy way out for anyone these days, when it comes to me, is to call me mad. And Macaulay Cash sent me to the Sane helpline. My book was Sane's Book of the Year. Isn't that funny? And she refused to acknowledge me and refused to help. And a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice is absolutely happening, and it has happened, and it's happened for a long time. It's continuing now, and now that I've literally killed myself from the systemic government oppression, which is ruled by powerful individuals and acted out maliciously via proxy attack of other agencies and people, like the cowards they are, it can't really be put back into the box now, can it? So, a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice has occurred and is occurring, and I'm absolutely prejudiced, discriminated against, talked about, and I'm pretty popular, not in a good way, and that libel and slander rule the day, and I'm universally discriminated against, and I have no legal right. I actually have never had a lawyer who's not totally biased, and I simply cannot go to police to report crime, and I cannot be a whistleblower because I'm a failed whistleblower at AHPRA, at ASIC, at the Commonwealth Ombudsman, and now the Office of Prime Minister have refused my freedom of information and also my public interest disclosure, because I think all this is pretty interesting and needs to be aired. I think so. I'm a private person who's got a public life, and the public has now become that's what goes in and goes out. So now that I've been exploited and destroyed, I think I should just throw some air on the whole lot of things. Don't you think? Yes, it's true. The systemic abuse and years of struggling, of stigma, shame, prejudice, that really wasn't mine, and that I'd absolutely championed in the goodness of my soul and my heart to help so many people. The abuse was so bad and underpinned by such powerful people that it's true I did kill myself in a public hospital, Werribee Mercy, in February 2021. It was with an agreed, illegal contraband. That's an abandonment of duty of care. And I could sue for that. But I'm not like most people. I don't have rights. I can't get a lawyer. I can't go to police. In actual fact, they act with impunity to absolutely walk over me. And I mean that by this. I went, of course, I forgot because I'm forgetful because of my brain injury, to the Health Complaints Commissioner, to the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner, to the police, to IBAC, to the Victorian Inspectorate, and then to the Victorian Ombudsman, where Ben Calder, hello Ben, had already delighted to maybe tease me with a possible outcome that I might get an atonement of justice. I mean, my life had been literally killed. It wasn't the onus on mental illness that did it. It was the oppression and the systemic oppression over years underpinned by Steve Ioannidis and Mr. Ball, and affected other people in ways in which people have implied prejudice, which is part of the human condition. Now, when I was brutalised and locked up, my phone confiscated, which is illegal, and further oppressed, I did kill myself with an agreed illegal contraband, and I have PTSD. Funny that. You'd get that after you slit your artery open and want to exonerate yourself from this planet, having lost faith in all of humanity, and because you've been fucked over with medications being taken away that you've been on for 20 years, and they immediately stopped it. And further, the Freedom of Information blamed that on there was a protest. I didn't get my dexamphetamine I wanted. It's so preposterous. Dr. Kumar was the overseeing the hospital at that time, and I saw him 13 years prior. He absolutely knows about Steve Ioannidis, that he was present at a murder and all sorts of things, and he suggested, while I was seeing him at the time, that I call the police in case Steve gets violent. And he can acknowledge that, and he absolutely knows that that's true and correct. And yet, Werribee Mercy, as well as the Tax Department, and Centrelink, and ASIC, and AHPRA, and the Commonwealth Ombudsman, and everyone else, including my friends and family, refused to acknowledge that Steve and I were in a relationship for over 5 years and were engaged to be married. True, it was pretty toxic. That's because he exploited my nest egg for money, and I was on $300 or $350 a week on a DSP, so I've committed fraud. Come and arrest me. And he was on $30,000 to $40,000 a month, and that's fairly inequitable, I reckon. And it's also inequitable that I've just got it over there. Steve actually applied to get the carer's pension. I didn't know that until I found it in a whole bunch of stuff. And that's the way a really greedy person works, to exploit a vulnerable person, take advantage of them, and financially and sexually coerce, use, and dump them. And of course, some people in life want to do you harm, and they bring you close only to stick the knife in. And then, when they're out of the picture, they have to act via proxy and do it silently from their positions of money, privilege, and power and their political situation. And they can do it cowardly, through the actions of other agencies such as Werribee Mercy Hospital and the CAT team, who I clearly described when they came and got me that there was a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. And there actually was. And now that that's all happened, there's actually a bigger one. Who'd have thought? So I could sue the hospital, but I'm not a normal person. I don't have rights. I don't have dignity. Actually, I don't even have a place to stay or live or even eat anything. Crystal's hungry, and I hope you can help us by helping me with these justice issues so I can live a simple life with my dog and give again. That's what I want. Oh, you know how you have a website and stuff, and that's your business, and you've probably had that business for over 20 years. As richiemclean.com, creativemusings.com.au, and richmclean.com.au, where you ran your business and was your pivotal point for selling all your wares and for promoting your business, and the architecture, the digital architecture of your identity, your online identity, your electronic impression, and your intellectual property, and that all the evidence for all these things you were collating was on the emails on the server of the said company, which was Micron21. Hi, Micron21. And further, it's pretty important. When you run a business, you got to have that, don't you? Well, just after I'd killed myself and been screwed over all these places, Micron21 with James there decided out of the blue, without warning, to absolutely just destroy, with malicious intent, to maim and destroy evidence before a court, and also ruin everything about my business, and basically financially destroy me and desecrate my being and my identity. Went out of their way to delete all backups, my websites, my hosting, and all evidence, including pictures of loved ones I'd lost, and all emails, communications, and evidence. They totally obliterated my online identity and my business. And furthermore, when I was aghast that this could even possibly happen and no one even cared, I went to the small business family ombudsman, who didn't really care. The telecommunications industry ombudsman, they didn't care. Business.gov.au, they didn't care. Neither did ASIC. Neither did a whole lot of people. In fact, I'm so catastrophically scapegoated and well-known and infamous vagrant that everyone's got a reason to hate me, and people can act with impunity, like James of Micron21, who intentionally went out of his way to attack me in the very mechanism by which I identify myself, promote myself, make money, and run my business. And to that, I could probably sue them, but I'm not like a normal person. So if we could just acknowledge for a minute that they destroyed evidence for a court, my intellectual property, and my online identity, including my email and all backups, and that threw me into a huge turmoil for so long. Maybe we could get somewhere. That would be good.